going on, you blue-collar maniacs? As you can see behind me, I'm on a job site doing a remodeling job. Here lately, I've been taking on a ton of different contracted jobs, some of which involve remodeling entire units from the ground up. Other jobs could be appliance repairs, electrical, welding, industrial, machine, commercial equipment repairs, plumbing, you name it, and I'm out here doing it. Now, this particular unit, we're doing everything. We're ripping up all the tile. We're going to be putting in brand new flooring. And I won the bid on this one, come in and done a walkthrough. Every door in it had been kicked in. You can clearly see I've already ripped down all the baseboards. I've got a bunch of mud and drywall work to do. And I've been getting into a ton of different plumbing related jobs, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Go ahead and tie in a bunch of pictures and videos of some of the service calls I've taken on as of late and kind of walk you through what I've been up to. So let's get to it. The first service call we're going over here today is the one I made yesterday morning. 7 o'clock in the morning, this property management company called me up and said, "Backwoods, there's a leak coming out of the ceiling as you go through the double entrance doors to our building." The very first thing I do is get my ladder out, climb up through the ceiling, get into the access panel, inspect everything and see what's going on. You got one apartment overhead where the kitchen sink comes down and ties into the main line. You got a secondary apartment right beside of that one where the sink comes down and ties into the side of the main line. And then you got the main line that ties all the stackable apartments over top of those together, coming down into this exact same system. It kind of goes over to the right, curves into the elbow, goes down in behind this brick wall. Now, as you can see, there's drywall, there's framework, there's all that sort of stuff here. So I do not want to change this if I absolutely don't have to. So what I did was temporarily fix the problem, because what was wrong with it was a little pinhole in the side of that elbow. The cast iron had rotted away. Basically took a Fernco coupling, cut it up, took some plumber's putty, a little bit of cement glue, slapped it together, put it on that Fernco. Then I took 2 water clamps, wrapped it around that elbow, and tightened them down as tight as I could get them. After it dried for an hour, I went upstairs to run some water through the lines, and there's no leaks. But like I said, this is just a temporary fix until I can get into this, because this isn't going to be an easy job to do it right. A lot of what I've been dealing with lately is a bunch of wash boxes. If you have a washing machine, it's going to be hooked into a wash box, just so you know what I'm talking about. Anytime I go in to do a remodeling job, generally if I'm redoing everything from the ground up, that's one of the things I'll absolutely change. Because you got to think, these things have been in there for 30, 40 years. You're going to have corroded pipes, bad valves. It's going to leak at some point in time. And whenever they do, you're talking about property damage to the property and to the tenant's belongings, which means liability, insurance claims, property damage. It's going to end up costing you a lot more money in the long run if you don't change these things. So anytime I'm going in to remodel one of these properties, that's the one thing that I'll recommend we do. A lot of the time I'll get a call to come out and deal with a plumbing problem related to the wash box. It's either going to be a clogged up or leaking drain line, something to do with the valve or the washing machine itself. Now, if the problem ends up being something related to the washing machine, I will offer my services to the tenant. Otherwise, I'm there to do the job that the property managers hired me to do. And here's one of the service calls that I recently took on involving a wash box. Basically, the tenants below this apartment called up and said, "Hey, we're getting flooded." So the property manager called me up. I went in, I took a look at what was going on. Somebody had actually been into this drain system before. They had a Fernco coupling hooked up to the wash box, tying it to the PVC with no water clamps. We pulled open that access panel and got in behind that wall there to see what was going on. I seen exactly what the problem was. If you take a look at the way these pipes are tied together, you should be able to tell what the problem is from the get-go. Anytime you got a drain system, you're supposed to have a P-trap. If you don't have a P-trap, you'll be able to make your own with some PVC pipe, just not like this. Whenever your washing machine starts to drain, the force of that water is going to go down that pipe, and it should go smoothly throughout that P-trap and down the drain. Whenever you got 2 stubby 90-degree elbows hooked up back to back in close proximity like this right here, your water is going to flow up and out instead of down. So the very first thing I did was go ahead and remove the entire PVC section from the wash box down to the main line. While I had everything loosened up, I took the Super V auger here and run it down the line, made sure it was unclogged. Then I utilized some of the old PVC line, went ahead and cut up some new pieces and hooked up a brand new P-trap. After I got everything reinstalled the way it should have been, I put a test load inside the washing machine, went ahead and let it run its course. Anytime you do a job like this, you want to verify that nothing's leaking after you get done. Before I started taking on a ton of jobs like these, I really didn't think dealing with a wash box would be a common item, but it is. Sometimes the supply lines will just get worn out and you need to put in a new gasket. Other times you need to take apart the valves and rebuild them, or simply replace the entire wash box. You got old cast iron pipe, it's 40, 50 years old, it's going to start flaking loose, you're going to have to take it apart and replace it. As I said, I do get several of these service calls a month, and it's actually pretty surprising how often I get them. Which, if anybody out here wants to get into a good solid trade, you can make as much money, if not more, doing plumbing than you will doing automotive repair. Between plumbing, automotive, and HVAC, you got 3 solid trades right there that's growing, that pays good, that's in high demand. I like putting together videos like this, that way you all can kind of see exactly what types of tools it is that I'm using to get these jobs done. I like to focus on certain types of repairs or service calls that I get, simply because I can put them all together in one video like this one. I can show you all the different types of tools that I'm testing in the trade head to head up against other brands. If you want to see tools in action, all you got to do is pop the clutch and that subscribe button, or check out all these social media platforms. Just now getting to the point where I'm doing a lot more plumbing related repairs. There really is a lot of money to be made. But we're going to go ahead and run through a few more more plumbing related service repair calls that I've done recently. We'll get this wrapped up. Now, I have had a few service calls that involve dishwashers. I've either come in and made repairs to them, or I took the old ones out and put new ones in. There's even been a handful of garbage disposals that have come in and made repairs to, or simply removed and replaced. Now, my personal experience, one of the most common plumbing repair calls that I receive on a daily basis is going to be clogged up lines. And that really can be a tradesman's bread and butter right there. If you're going out here doing some sort of handyman hustle, want to make some good money on the side, if you got yourself a good solid auger, you know how to run it down the drain lines and unclog pipes, you're going to get a lot of calls. Especially if you go out here and get a good working relationship with property management companies. The average person's house, you got a washer and dryer, which means you're going to have a wash box. That's a plumbing line to deal with. Anything related to that wash box is something you have potential to work on, whether that's the washer, the lines, the valves, the drain, ventilation system. And the exact same thing can be said about your kitchen sink, your dishwashers, your garbage disposals, your showers, your toilets, your sinks, your vanity sinks, eye wash stations, whatever the case may be. There's always potential to go out here and make money whenever you get into the plumbing field, even if you're out here doing maintenance or handyman repairs. These are common things that you're going to come across on a daily basis because everybody has plumbing. Nobody can survive without plumbing, and we're talking about installations, removals, repairs, clogs, and much more. But if you're someone who is a maintenance technician, a handyman, a professional plumber, anything related to that, why don't you go ahead and comment down below and tell us what your most common repair is? What service calls do you take on the most? Other than that, I encourage you to stay tuned because we got plenty of content coming up. Until next time, I want you to keep doing that blue collar hustle.